All right, everybody, it's time for Red Rain episode 181. Please welcome in your host, Walter Mitchell.
Thank you, Kyle Little Rock Ledbetter, host, sporting his St. Louis Cardinals hat. I like it. And with the color combo of the red there, we're getting psyched for Cardinals today. We're anxiously awaiting the waiver wire announcements and see what's going to happen. We're going to talk about 53-man projection towards the end. But wanted to start by talking about Saturday night's 20-10 win over the Raiders in a nice bounce back game, and in a lot of respects. So want to go straight to the highlight plays. Kyle's got a few lined up, so let's just take them one at a time and talk about each one of them. Pretty cool stuff. The first one would be the fade pass TD from Cardinal nemesis Geno Smith. Yeah. All right. So this is just a dime. I mean, pretty tight coverage by Denzel Burke, but sees the ball too late and gets his hand up too late to where the catch, you got to split receiver's hands. Although he's got his hand in position there, it just doesn't get over fast enough, and he can't seem to break it up. So give them credit right at the pylon, and he gets that other foot in. Look at that. Neat.
That was pretty close. I wasn't quite sure he got that second foot down, but he just barely snuck it in there.
Looked like he did. So fortunately, that was all we needed to see from Geno Smith with Pete Carroll, back with Pete Carroll. And so tough way to start the game, but then the Cardinals bounced back, and we had a real nice. What's the second play? It's this strip sack, right? Jordan Birch.
That would be it.
What a great play. This was awesome. And feel bad for Aiden O'Connell. I think he broke his wrist on this play. Yeah, it looks like it. And
yeah, I think he's going to be out 6 to 8 weeks, they said.
Yeah, sorry to hear about that. But look at Birch come off that edge. And you know what? I mean, he's so dynamic. It's just a matter of sooner rather than later to where he's starting on that edge for the Cardinals. I mean, I know the Cardinals re-signed Zaven Collins, but Zaven Collins can't put that kind of rush on tape. And when we're really keying on the pass rush this year, we're going to need this kid. And what a strip sack! And so that led to a field goal, and then the next play is the touchdown pass, right, from Tune, which was, I thought Tune played this perfectly. I mean, one of the things about Clayton Tune is his mobility was on full display in this game. And I thought they were throwing, Pete Carroll knows the Cardinals offense. He was throwing edge guys at him all night, and he was still deking them out and getting around that edge. And by the way, when you roll to your left, that's a high skill pass. You got to be able to square your shoulders and fire a dart there. This is textbook. Look him set. Look how square his shoulders were. And there's Simi Fehiko with his second touchdown in 2 games for the Cardinals. And I think he was a roster lock to begin with, but this certainly seals the deal for him. And he could wind up being wide receiver 3 eventually. He's got the goods, and he's a tall slot. And like Gannon said, he can play all 3 wide receiver positions. So, yeah, good stuff there. You know, it was ugly at times with, for Tune because of the pressure. He was sacked 5 times, and he was hit 8 times in the game. I think it's a credit to him over the last 2 games, as pressured as he got, that he never turned the ball over. Either via fumble, he got sacked numerous times, or either by throwing an interception. And I think that's something to find commendable too about his game. And I'll say too is, let's go to the second half touchdown, or the couple runs that really were big for the Cardinals. First was the Michael Carter run. All right, now he cuts back. He's really good at this. And off he goes. And that triggered, that got the game for us tied. This led to a field goal to tie the game.
I mean, right here, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 silver jerseys surrounding him. And then a 6th coming in right here.
And
all
Jeremiah Byers did a good job sealing off the edge there. Just all he had to do was, just occupy the guy for a second. Carter was gone. I'm glad he didn't get called for anything on this. He didn't need to hold Byers right up here at the top. Boom. And now you got wide open edge. Yeah. Love the hustle downfield.
Big push off the line of scrimmage too, by the offensive line.
Yeah, they did.
Mm-hmm.
And, it was a really good game again for Michael Carter. I thought he played well last week. I think he's the most deserving of all the running backs for running back 4, if they're going to keep 4. What do you think, Sam?
Oh, he's been great. And I think they'll definitely keep 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely think they'll keep 4, especially since Connor gets hurt a lot.
Yeah.
And we are a run-first team. It's nice to see the backup offensive linemen play so well in run blocking.
Yeah.
But, they have not improved week by week over this preseason in their pass blocking. Their pass blocking has left a lot to be desired.
Yes. Yep. I like this kid, Josh Fryer, though.
Me too.
He's he could be right tackle of the future for us. I think it's quite possible we'll have Buckeye bookends maybe as soon as next year. So that was a really cool pickup by the Cardinals, and with
thank you, offensive line coach, who brought him in.
Synced right up there. John Gaines had a really good day, and he's going to be a valuable piece as a swing center guard week 1, and it's good to see he's getting over that thumb injury that was nagging him there. So that's a key piece, and then we'll get to the 53-man stuff at the end. But this play was encouraging, and then let's go get Bammed by Bam Knight.
What a run that was, huh?
Look at this.
Yeah.
That is just, when you put something like that on tape.
That's right.
GMs and head coaches are going to take notice.
No question.
Right there, boom, shot out of a cannon, found the hole. Again, Jeremiah Byers playing left tackle. He's normally a right tackle. the Cardinals offensive line coaches have been flipping and flopping these backup tackles to see, I guess, whether they could be swing tackles eventually. But got to give Byers credit again for sealing down. It wasn't a great block, but it's all you need is just enough. And on both of these plays, he got just enough. Number 67 at the top of the screen. 47 with the nice kick out. I think that's Cardinals, the rookie. I think they like him.
And watch the lineman run downfield with him.
Yep.
That kid did exactly what his agent told him he needed to do. He wasn't going to make this play, but he said, you've got to put something good on tape, and the kid had one shot to do it, and got the job done. He's so excited in the end zone. I was thrilled for him.
Yeah. Kyle, can you go to X and pull up my the poll I did on X about who should be RB4? That was really interesting. So after the game, I thought it was one of the biggest questions because Carter played so well. And then Bam Knight just, wow. I mean, it's just such a, you look at that explosion. And so the way that I put it was, do you go with the savvy veteran in Carter who's quick-footed and multi-dimensional? Or do you go with DJ Dallas, who's the kickoff returner? I thought it was interesting that anytime they had a choice between Carter and Dallas to start a game as a running back, they chose Carter, which I think is telling. And I thought it was also telling that they tried so many guys at kickoff return and punt return this year, and I think they're trying to figure out, the running back situation, whether they can afford to, keep Dallas if Carter's a key piece, or could they, look at Bam Knight's explosion in this offense? That kind of explosion would just be unbelievable. So, yeah, but the fans voted the way that I thought. It was 50% for Michael Carter, 30% for Bam Knight, and then 10 for Dallas and 8 for no running back 4 needed. Would Michael Carter clear waivers? I believe he would.
I do too.
Yep. Would Bam Knight clear waivers? I think he would, but you put that on tape, that might, someone might think they're getting a sleeper. And if their, running back room needs, depth, I think he could get claimed. I mean, Carter's a veteran, so, Knight would be more attractive salary-wise. DJ Dallas, I don't think gets claimed.
Because of his salary.
Correct. Yes, I don't think someone's going to pick that up. But if DJ Dallas clears through waivers, I could easily see Pete Carroll trying to coax Dallas back to the Raiders in some capacity. But I think at that point, as long as the Cardinals come away with Carter and Knight still in the fold, I think they'll be happy. I think 2 of the 3 are going to stick at some, either one on the roster and one on the practice squad. So, and possibly even all 3. But yeah, I think the way Xavier Weaver was running returns, they had Bam Knight take a kickoff return. And he had, like a 27-yarder, and I think that Dallas had a 28-yarder, so not much different there. But so yeah, it's worth watching because I think Bam Knight made this an interesting conversation beyond what it already was. So, what's your instinct, Sam? Who do you think? They'll stick with Carter? Well, if you're voting on this, what do you think happens?
I think they're sticking with Carter.
Okay.
He's the known commodity.
Yeah.
But salary always is most important to our Cardinals.
Right.
So I'm
yeah, they do save money by moving on from DJ Dallas.
Yeah, that was a curious signing to begin with. When they signed him last year, I was scratching my head, especially at that salary.
Me too. I mean, for a team, we could have used that money elsewhere. And
I would love to see them use. That's right. I would love to see them use Weaver instead of Dallas. But Jeff Rogers, I think, is going to have the ultimate say on this.
Right.
And he might be the security blanket for Rogers.
Correct. And Amari DiMercato can return kickoffs.
He's a terrific player. Underutilized, terrific player.
Yep. And he's a gamer.
So. Absolutely.
Yep.
That's my word.
Yeah. So let's go to the box score and check out the numbers for what we saw. You know, here's the other thing to me about Clayton Tune is he's getting unmercifully persecuted by Cardinals fans. I mean, I just want to put this in perspective. All right. It's almost like the perfect storm for him. He comes in as a rookie. He believes, based on his career stats at Houston matched up with C.J. Stroud's and Bryce Young's, and he said, "I'm going to be just as good as either of those two guys." And I had watched his tape, and I know Mel Kiper was really high on Clayton Tune as well. I saw something there that I thought was pretty. Of the three, he was by far the most mobile and could move around, and plus good arm, was plenty accurate at Houston. And he comes to the Cardinals as a rookie in a really interesting situation with Kyler Murray being out 8 games or 9 games, as it turned out. And he plays pretty well in preseason. I mean, he's not great, but he's moving the ball, and he had 2 games with an RTG over 100 out of 3, which is dang good. My argument was, don't bring in Dobbs. Play this kid who's played way more football over the last 4 years than Dobbs. And he's just going to pick up where what he usually does. He's been a starting quarterback. He passes the Bill Parcells test of he has multiple years starting at Houston with a great deal of success. He helped turn Tank Dell into a high-profile draft prospect. So there are a lot of positives there, right? So. And I thought, if this is a year where you're just going to try to, rebuild, why not play the rookie? Why not develop them? Then you don't have, if you can develop them, and now you have 2 quarterbacks for the future. But, they rush in Dobbs, which I thought was a mistake. I still think it was a mistake, particularly how they handled at the end. With Dobbs coming off his best second half of the season, where he rallied the team from behind and almost came back to beat the Ravens at home. I think it was the Ravens, or it was the 49ers, one of the two. And then this mysterious announcement, well, we're not going to play Dobbs this next week, but we're not going to trade him either. And so we're going to go with Clayton Tune against the Cleveland Browns. I mean, this kid hasn't had, any real time with the first team all year. And you throw him into that scenario, into the dog pound with, up against Dobermans. And, I mean, it was like he was a sacrificial lamb. I mean, there was no chance, give any rookie in that situation, having not played for 9 weeks, goes into that game against that pass rush and has a chance. There's 0. So, why they did that, just so we know, they didn't want to start Kyler in his first game back against that team. So we're going to sacrifice Tune. Now everyone will think Tune sucks for the rest of his life. Can't get behind this kid because he, turned the ball over and couldn't, muster many drives against the Browns. And then, Kyler comes back and all that. But, last year, so then the offseason, they want an experienced backup, so they trade for Desmond Ridder, which was a curious trade. Rondale Moore, a second-round draft pick, going for Ridder, who was a third-round draft pick. But Ridder was 8-9 as a starter in the NFL, and there's some ability there. And Clayton Tune takes the bull by the horns and beats the dude out.
Yes, he does. Hands down.
And credit him, and he played pretty dang well.
Yes, he did.
And to do that, he had to. And here's the perfect storm. Of all the years Kyler Murray doesn't get hurt, Clayton Tune never got his chance on a better situation for him and for the team. And then when we're out of the playoffs with 2 games to go, there could be the possibility, well, let's see who we have in Clayton Tune. Let's now give him a decent chance. Except no, we got, the reverse script from the year before where you just want to lose games and call them the perfect loss. Now you want to just win games that don't matter. And in a way, I sort of got that. I mean, they wanted to end the season on more of a positive note than the downer that happened after the bye week. But again, it was like the perfect storm. Like, here's a great opportunity to even play him for a half or something. So let's get a look at, give him a chance to show what he can do. And it never happened. And then this offseason, like one of the first signings is Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah, that was the end of it. That was the end of the Clayton Tune story.
Right. And when you're giving Brissett $8 million guaranteed, which I thought was like, if you watch his games for the Patriots last year, he was uninspiring, to say the least. And, I watched every one of them from start to finish, being, living 5 minutes from Gillette. And I was just so like, why aren't they playing Drake May? This is just silly. And you can't say that Jacoby Brissett was giving that team the best chance to win, because he wasn't. And the irony was, just like the Cardinals year with Dobbs, the Patriots could have been 3-2 easily after 5 games. They had the fourth quarter leads against the Dolphins and the Seahawks. And in both cases, mistakes that Brissett made in the fourth quarter made a difference in those losses. Now, so, I mean, for Clayton Tune, so he hasn't played when he stepped on the field this year for preseason. He hadn't played any football in over in a year, and certainly nothing meaningful. And that's hard to do. Now you're with a whole makeshift new line. You're with new backups. You're trying to, and you're not getting the kind of reps that the first 2 quarterbacks are getting. Nowhere near the kind of reps that Kyler and Jacoby are getting. So you get in that situation, and I mean that so in 2 of the 3 games, Drew Petzing's motto for the Cardinals offense was play fast and finish. In 2 or 3 games, he accomplished that. He wasn't great, but he kept the whole thing together, and he, in the second half, he helped pull out both games. So they're both wins at home. The first against the Chiefs, where they got a field goal win, and then this time a 10-point win. That Bam Knight touchdown drive, which was 97 yards. He got him out of the hole, out of the end zone. He had a great little pass there to tight end Josiah DeGuara. that got him out of the hole, and then a couple plays later, bam, Knight's off to the races. So, I mean, and talk about playing fast, he had to play fast all night because, guys in his face. Practically every time he turned a bootleg, every time he turned, he pulled the ball back. So I give the guy a ton of credit. And I think, he's, he got balls batted down under pressure. That stuff happens. I mean, and Jonathan Gannon saying we need rhythm at halftime. Yeah, well, Pete Carroll's one of the most infamous coaches for disrupting rhythm that there ever has been. So, and he knows our offense better than anyone. So, it was, I think, I'm hoping all along there's been agreement that he is going to be on the team practice squad, because I think he's still worth developing. That the mobility there is really, really special, and he's got a good arm, and I just think he needs time and to develop. So,
and he needs a coach to develop it. I'm a broken record. I think the Cardinals owe him an apology. They've given him plenty of time to be the sacrificial lamb, and that's what he's been.
Right.
But there's no one to coach him up. There's no one to develop him. There's no quarterback coach there. I mean, who's going to develop fifth round draft pick quarterback who needs developing? Who's that person on the Cardinals staff? I don't see a name.
Well, I don't know enough about Israel Wolford, and I'm not there every day in practice. But the way that Drew Petzing has handled quarterbacks since he's arrived has raised some questions for me. I just get the sense that, for one, I think that sort of Kyler was forced on him. I don't see Kyler as a natural fit in a Drew Petzing offense. The irony is, I think physically, Clayton Tune is a better fit because he doesn't play scared. He'll step up in the pocket and he can make plays over the middle that Kyler is a little reluctant to throw. And he'll hang in there when he has to.
Say what you feel about Clayton Tune. He is one tough kid.
He is. I mean, look at the pounding he took the last 2 games.
It was with the Broncos, it was really terrible.
Oh, I mean, here's what bothers me too is that, one of the Cardinals pundits, one of the guys who's, one of the leading podcasters, says, here's his caveat was, it was the Broncos defense. I get it, but Clayton Tune sucks. He's got to go.
That's a cheap shot.
I mean, if you get it, you get the fact that, this is pretty, put it this way. Go back to the week before when they were playing the 49ers. Clayton Tune's QBR or RTG was higher than any of those 49ers, including Mac Jones. I mean, Clayton's was 68.8. Mac Jones was 53.3. And the other kid, Bradley, was like 30-something. And then the last kid, Mordecai, was like 11. I mean, that's how good this Broncos defense is. I mean, and from start to finish, I mean, those guys are loaded. And that's why I'm going to come back to you at the end with we'll see if they scouted some of your great Bronco depth pieces that might get cut. But nonetheless, the good news is Jacoby Brissett, who looks just like he belongs in that offense. And it's very encouraging to me. And he's a guy that doesn't really need to be coached in it because he knows it so well already, of having played it for Petzing, who was his quarterback coach while at Cleveland. So, the fit there looks really good. Now, the problem with that is that I don't think you can expect Brissett to carry a team for 17 games. But if Kyler does happen to falter or get injured, we've got a viable, alternative in Jacoby Brissett, who could really be, do what Colt McCoy did for us so well when he was, in 2021 when he won first on the road.
If Kyler gets hurt for a second, probably get us 2, maybe 3 wins, depending on who we're playing, given the schedule.
Right. And with an improved defense, hopefully, the Cardinals will be in closer games and have a better chance to win. So,
yeah.
So anyway, let's go to these stats. So let's go up to the quarterbacks just for a sec. All right. I really like that our RTG is better than theirs for the game. 86.0 is solid. The average, the completions aren't great. The yards aren't great. The average isn't great. But you didn't turn the ball over. You got sacked 5 times. You got hit 8 times. You threw a beautiful TD pass. Given what he went through the week before, I think that's a really solid bounce back game, and he holds it together and helps the team win the game. In the
just
second
for
half.
reference, too, about a 91 is about league average for that quarterback rating number.
Right.
Just for people
So under
at home.
these circumstances, and exactly, that's a really good reference. You're absolutely right. So Geno Smith came in 2 for 3, hit the touchdown, and exited stage left the way Mahomes did in the Kansas City game with a TD and high fives. But now, look at the Vegas rushing. Kudos to our defense. 3.3. That was, Mostert is a guy that's really hurt us in the past. Holding him to 3.6 on 9 carries. That's good work by our defense. I thought in the second half the defense played really well, and it was great to see because they had a nice bounce back game, and they covered too. We'll talk about that in a minute. But look at the flip side on our side. Bam Knight, 16.6 average on 5 carries, including the 67-yard scamper. Michael Carter, 5 for 47, 9.4. These are Clayton Tune. That's the other thing I loved about Clayton, moving the sticks with his feet. And he ran hard. Remember, he wasn't just taking slides either. There was one downfield one that he took, fell forward. He's a tough kid.
And a smart runner, too.
He is very smart. You're right. Imari had a little trouble there. He was the one that, and DJ, they struggled. But you know what? 28 for 210, 7.5. Welcome back to the rushing game we learned to love. That's a huge breakthrough in this game. So, and like you said, Sam, we need the pass pro to improve, but hopefully with our starters they're going to be
right.
Receiving, nothing to speak of for the Raiders. Nothing much to speak of for us. It was kind of the same for both teams. It was a struggle. And this time of year, typically defenses are better off than offenses. It takes a while. So,
well, I think the other part is no one had even more than 3 targets. So they were just throwing anyone out there. It's like, you get a drive, you get a drive, you get a drive.
Right. Yeah, I like this kid, Josiah DeGuara, played for the Packers. He might get some interest. He's a good athlete and a good receiving tight end. Hoping we can keep him. I don't think he makes the 53 because I think they like Travis Vokolek a little better because of his blocking prowess. He's been outstanding. all camp.
Yes, he has.
So, but DeGuara, be nice to have around in the bullpen because he can. And I think they like this kid Cardenas, the rookie. And maybe they give him a practice spot. That would not surprise me at all. So, and then let's go down to defense. Second week in a row, Michael Walker leads the team in tackles, and he was in on a half sack. I like this kid, and I think we're so up in the air at inside linebacker. I mean, I'm not sure. People have been saying you got to just take 4 at the most, but I don't know how to separate them. I mean, Cody Simon, I think you have to keep as a 4th-round pick, and we should. I mean, look at him there. He had 5 total tackles. I think he's been playing better and better each week. Owen Popo, who really can excel in situations, in situations where you can put him with his blazing speed on a running back, or you can blitz him with his blazing speed. He's really a really good blitzer, as we saw last year. I would not want to give up on him. And and then Xavier Thomas. I had a nightmare flash of like, was this his swan song via, last game of the preseason, like Cam Thomas last year, who had 3 sacks, and they were like, "See ya."
Yeah.
And he got claimed by the Chiefs. I hope not. I think this kid played 55 snaps more than anybody else. He rushed his butt off the whole night. He had 2 sacks, whole bunch of pressures. I think he had 8 pressures.
That's because they played him from the Sam finally.
Yeah.
It's much better strong side than the Jack, and he had a terrific game.
Yeah, he's quick off that edge, and he's got a high motor that does not stop. I saw him on a knee at the end of that game, just kind of collecting his breath. Kudos to him. He left it all out on the field, and he deserves a roster spot. And at the time, I was thinking we could slip him through waivers. No, not after this. We're not going to be able to do that. So this kid Vi Jones, I love him as an athlete. Love to see us keep him. I think he's good in coverage too. He might be a keeper down the line once he gets integrated into this defense. But on the practice squad, Darren Hall had like an unbelievable preseason. I think he's got to be a lock.
I agree.
I mean, he's playing the Garrett Williams role when Garrett's not in there. And he's doing it really well at a high level. He's in that role they call it slot corner, but it's really slot safety. And depending on where they line up, it's either going to be man or zone. But oh man, I think he's so ready, not only for the roster, but to help us in New Orleans. I would love to see him on the field. He is balling. K-Trell had a really nice game. I'd be so sad if they let him go. I just love that kid's spirit. I love his talent.
Same.
I wish they'd play him in the slot in man coverage. So Denzel Burke has been sticky, but not quite there yet.
He's a practice round kid.
Yeah. I don't think he'll get claimed. I mean,
he's a 5th rounder. I don't think he'll get claimed.
Well, the part of the problem for him is that the rap on him is man defense is suspect, and that he doesn't have the speed necessarily to be able to They're only guys you can limit him on. But as a zone corner, he can find a niche, because he's really good at that. But I don't think he's anywhere near NFL game ready yet.
No, that's why
he's
he
working
picked on
hard.
him.
What's
That's
that?
why he picked on him opening that drive. Picked on him the whole drive.
Right.
He got a pass interference call,
Yep.
and then the touchdown.
Yeah. So, and I remember Brett Coleman and E.J. Snyder saying that with Denzel Burke, they thought he got picked too soon. And that was late 5th round. The Cardinals took him, which is interesting. So they had him more as a 6th rounder, late 6th rounder. And guys like that typically aren't going to get claimed off waivers.
Right.
Particularly if they don't bring the versatility. That's what he does not have yet, is the versatility. Right. I mean, he's not going to play the slot, put it that way, yet. I mean, you could train him to, and you can, he'd have to play a physical slot, play bump and run, and you'd have to learn those techniques. But he's a guy worth keeping and hanging on to, and he's a local kid. But of all the defensive backs, I think if you had to let one try to go to waivers and pass through, go unclaimed, I think he's the one. And it was hard decision, because I'd like to keep him on regular roster. But this is the thing. I mean, as I said on draft day, was like another corner. I mean, you're just setting yourself up for these kind of decisions.
Given our injuries, we might be checking the waiver wire in a couple days for another cornerback.
Well, everybody's predicting. I'm hearing on X all these fans saying, like, our QB at 1 is not on the roster yet. Oh, really? Oh, man. So we're just going to keep drafting guys until we find them. Will Johnson came out and wrote an article today, posted it about his journey and how his knee's been fine since he had it scoped, and cleaned out, the cartilage cleaned out, and that it was a turf toe that bothered him last year, and that he's loves the culture and the coaches in Arizona, and has 3 goals that he is going to prove everyone else wrong who passed on him. He wants to prove himself right, and he wants to help lead the Cardinals to getting a ring the way that Michigan got a natty. So it was a really good article and whatnot. I think he's going to have some struggles.
He's definitely going to struggle.
Right.
He has not looked good, and he doesn't look like a starter. He's had numerous holding calls. He bit on every double move in front of him.
Yeah.
And you got to come out of college and you got to recognize basic common route concepts. I don't see that from him.
Yeah, in fact, I think they ought to play him in zones and play him up, not deep.
Yeah.
And that way he'll be able to be himself and just jump around and try to jump routes. For man right now, I don't think he's ready, just like Denzel Burke. And I'm not, people say you think he's not ready, and you say you're dissing on his talent. I'm sky high on his talent. I think he could be, unbelievably good.
Oh, and he will be. But he's not. He wasn't good at man in college. And he's, like you said, he's not ready yet. We've got a head coach who is a former cornerback himself, a cornerback whisperer, developer. So I'm looking forward to seeing Johnson really develop quickly. And I'll tell you what, the kid who I really am thrilled with over preseason is our BC kid, Elijah Jones.
Me too.
He was terrific last night.
Yep.
He's
the best man cover guy. He is. We need man cover guys.
Yep.
He's the best right now.
Yes, he is.
And once he gets his feet under him, he'll be picking balls off because he gets himself a lot in position, and he plays tight enough cushion where you're not like going, why? He can play tight and stick.
Yes.
And he sees the football when it's thrown. Like pundits have him being cut.
Exactly. No.
I know. They still. I'm reading today. Cards Wire, Revenge of the Birds. They have him cut.
Well, he was injured previously, so they're not taking that into account. But since he's been healthy, he's been playing great, especially at man. And given our injuries in the cornerback room, we need him. We need him, and we need Hall as well.
Right.
Those are two experienced guys that we need. We need to.
And you got to love his size. He's 6'2".
Yes.
Imagine him and Johnson once he gets his mojo, down. I mean, that's a pair to move forward with. And we got him for the next 3 years and 4 years with Johnson. So that's not something to mess with. And I'll tell you this right now. If he gets waived, Mike Vrabel will rush the waiver card to the podium.
Yeah, well, they put on. They don't protect him, and he's not on the 53. We'll lose that kid.
We will. I think he's a guy. I think who gets claimed.
Yep.
Because his BC tape was just his last year was so good that and whatnot. And then Max Melton. Max played a little in the preseason. Didn't really grade all that well either. So
why didn't they play him more? I understand that they've got a crowded room, but Melton could have used some reps.
Right.
Especially when they found out that Pete was going to play his starters this last game. I don't know why Melton wasn't on the field.
Right.
Would they learn on Burke? Would they learn from Burke? They learned what they should have already known. What they need to see is some good play and some experience, and Melton needs the reps.
These numbers might surprise you, and maybe they won't. But check this out. Here were the cover guys overall PFF grades for the preseason. Number 1, Darren Hall, 87.1. Number 2, Elijah Jones, 75.8.
Not surprised.
Number 3, Jalen Jones, whom people aren't even talking about, 69.2. He was on the Bears. He's a veteran. That's number 3, actually. Number 4, Stephen Gilmore, who they added 2 weeks ago. I've been talking about his feet. He's a kid who I think can play the slot. He's at 68.5. Garrett Williams finally comes in at 60. Gilmore was 68.9. Garrett Williams, 68.5. I'll be interested to see if he's improved his man coverage skills. In camp, I was watching him. Still not quite where you would think for fans who are saying he's going to be a Pro Bowler this year. I think he could be if his man coverage improves for sure. But if you can't cover man, I don't think you make the Pro Bowl. As great as he is at zones. Next was K'Trell Clark, 58.5. Max Melton, 57.5. Ekau Boye Doe, 48.0. Will Johnson, 46.8. Denzel Burke, 45.3. I mean, that's part being rookies. I'm high on both those kids, but it's unrealistic to think in this day and age, no matter how good you are at Michigan and Ohio State, that you can just jump into NFL packages and be, a superstar right from the get-go. It just rarely happens. So we have to be realistic with these kids, and I think that developing them is going to be huge. I'm just worried that as I've said all along, for a guy who was a cornerback coach, why aren't these kids being taught the fundamentals better? That's mind-boggling to me. And now the holdings are way up from what they normally are. So hopefully things start clicking this year, because we're going to need it, particularly with an improved pass rush, which we expect to get.
They're going to need a pass rush given the inside linebacker play, corner, and the youth and the injuries to the cornerbacks.
Yeah. I want to ask you, Sam. Kyle, can we go to that 53? I posted a 53 with practice squad projections as well, just to kind of see the whole picture. And when I get to inside linebacker, I'm going to turn this over to Sam, because he was an inside linebacker at Saguaro High School in Arizona. So, didn't you go to Saguaro?
Yes, and we Arizonans pronounce it saguaro.
Saguaro, right? Sorry.
That's all right.
I'm sorry. Saguaro.
What does East Coast kid know about saguaros?
Oh, thank you, mijo. Thank you. So anyway, quarterback set. Kyler Murray, we're set. I think that's been the Cardinals have assured Clayton Tune all along. Once they sign Brissett, look, we're going to still keep developing. We like your game. You're great on the practice squad. You got Pat Tillman, practice squad player of the week twice last year, and you bring it all for us practice squad. You bring mobility, you bring the arm, you bring and the passing ability. So we love you. That's what I'm thinking. But maybe we're going to be surprised, and they'll grab onto one of those old Brown quarterbacks for the practice squad instead. I hope not. I hope they stick with Tune. Running back, I feel like I don't think any of them are going to get claimed. And you know what? Week one, neither. The only one who might have a chance of being active for week one is DJ Dallas. If they're keeping him to be the kick returner, but I don't think they will have. I think more than likely there'll only be 3 running backs active against the Saints, especially if they can get a return going for another guy.
Right.
And I think that you can stash these guys and pull them up when you needed to, like we did with Carter last year. But then part of me wants them to reward Michael Carter for his perseverance. So I'll be happy if he gets it. And Bam Knight, I'd be happy if he gets it because of his explosiveness. But I could see where we could get away with not having to use roster spots with those two, and still have them. And still, in today's football, from week to week, elevate a guy from the practice squad and play him in the game. And you don't have to put him on the 53 until you do it like 3 times or so. All right, so then tight end, I have him keeping 4 with because Travis Vokalek, his blocking's been outstanding in practice squad. Hopefully Josiah DeGuara. Wide receiver, I think the 6 most people are talking about: Harrison Jr., Wilson, Fajico, Dortch, Jones, Weaver, and Tawan Palmer and Nate McCollum on the practice squad, or Andre Bocellia, who's like there's death, taxes, and Andre Bocellia.
That's right.
On the practice squad. Everybody loves that kid, and I love him too. And so if he stays, that's great. Then I think all you need to do is keep 8, the ones you're going to be active against the Saints. And you have to activate 3 on top of the starters. But the 8 is clear to me. Johnson, Brown, Frohl, Adams, Williams, Beecham, Gaines, Fryer. And then you can practice squad Newman, Sincere Haynesworth, or Donovan West, and Jake Kern. And one guy is, as I continue to watch the film, One guy who's gaining on me a lot is McClendon Curtis, who they played at right tackle down the stretch. He's a guard, and he's been playing pretty well at guard. He was playing left guard, and I thought he played great at right tackle. And this kid's a big, physical kid. So that's a guy I think who might be on the practice squad, and I'd be really excited if he is. And then so defensive interior, I had 6, and I just love, Calais, Darius, Dalvin, Dante, PJ, who's just been, wow, a physical presence in the middle.
Yeah, he's had a great preseason, Mustipher. He's
He
played his
deserves
way
it.
into the squad.
Yep. And Bars is just Bars you can't keep out of the highlight reel. I mean, he's like the two of them, Bars is the penetrator, and he had a sack, by the way, a big sack against the Raiders. And people are saying you're crazy, though. They're not going to cut LJ Collier. Well, they did last year.
Yeah.
With the same plan. And this is what you do with veterans sometimes when you don't want to just guarantee their salary week 1.
And he has not had a good camp.
No, and they have him listed as nose tackle. I mean, Mustipher, who are you going to play at nose tackle? Mustipher or Collier? I mean, it's like weird.
If Mustipher could develop a pass rush,
right,
he'd never get off the field.
Right. And you know what? A couple times against the Broncos, he was close. I mean, he like chucked his man aside one time, and boy, did he get upfield fast. So that's a kid who's lost 40 pounds since Gannon told him he better do it. And there's a great story that Gannon told where he came to the office on 4th of July. The facility is closed. They told the players all to stay home. And except that he looks out the window and there's PJ Mustipher doing individual drills for himself on the football field, on the practice field, with dumbbells and tackling dummies. And, that's how you win the heart of a football coach.
That's how you make a team.
Yeah. So that's a feel-good story.
Yes.
I love Patrick Jenkins and Elijah Simmons too. I think they hit the bonanza with these young players. I love their futures with the Cardinals if they can hold on to them. Jenkins he was really good at Tulane, and boy, he brings a cool package. Simmons is a classic nose tackle. But I just think Mustipher outplayed Simmons.
Yes, he did.
And so, and I don't think he'll get claimed. Do you think he'll get claimed?
No, nobody's going to claim Simmons.
What do you think, Kyle? You think Simmons?
I think they're going to be fine having him on the practice squad. I don't think that they're really at risk of having him claimed.
What I like about him for the roster, and you could pull him up from practice squad, is how good he'll be in goal line and short yardage situations. You always have to factor that in. You got to have horses up front. But of course, we got Mustipher and Tomlinson, and
and eventually Walter Nolan, hopefully.
Exactly.
Hopefully.
Please.
Yeah.
Yep. So the edge I have revised this week, adding Xavier Thomas. No way we're sneaking him through to waivers now. Practice squad, Benton Whitley. Inside linebacker. Now, this is where I wanted to turn to Sam. Mac Wilson Sr., Owen Popo, Cody Simon, Akeem Davis-Gaither, and Michael Walker. I kept them all because I can't. I mean, for me, I'm not playing Wilson at Mac. I mean, at Mike. That's just not. That's why he's never played there in the pros. It's just not a classic Mike. I think I just go with the rookie Simon, and he's going to get better week to week. He was the MVP in 2 of the 3 playoff games, including the national championship for Ohio State, playing against great offenses. I saw him chasing down those speedy Notre Dame running backs, and I was just like, I hope the Cardinals draft this kid. And I was so elated when I saw that they did. Gaither hasn't popped out to me.
He's played terribly.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm cutting any of these guys, it would be Gaither.
Well,
He looks a step slow. He looks tentative. I like this kid, Michael Walker. And there's a guy there in the fold who got concussed on the first day of practice, J.J. Russell, who I loved at Tampa Bay. And hopefully, I should add him there to the practice squad. I don't know if he's still injured, but I really think that could be an answer as well. I should have added that in there. What would you do?
Well, I'm really surprised ADG has played so poorly. And with respect to Simon, it's only a matter of time. If Mac Wilson doesn't
play
well and get this defense where it's supposed to be in position and focus the way it's supposed to be in that opener against the Saints, the clock's gonna be ticking for Simon. Simon, even though the coaches have raved about him, his stats aren't much better than ADG's.
No.
But he is a rookie, and he's going to improve, and he's got the experience. The kid I'm most disappointed with is Papo.
Right.
He's making the same mistakes. He's out of position. He doesn't recognize. He just doesn't recognize what the defense is doing, and he's always out of position. He's always almost there, but never there.
Right.
And he's too talented and he's too athletic to be constantly out of position. And I just don't. I'm very disappointed with his play. In fact, I think Monty is going to be looking at. I think Monty's going to be looking at maybe bringing somebody in. I don't know who that might be. Tony Fields is available. I know that the Steelers just released Devin Harper, and a couple of Patriots players just got cut. And the Cowboys are loaded at interior linebacker, across the board. Given that we're 16th on the waiver wire, we could grab somebody, and I wouldn't be surprised if they did.
Right. I totally thinking the exact same thing. And if it were me, I'd move Mac Wilson Sr. to the edge and pull Zaven Collins up, play him at Mike, and I'd play Cody Simon at weak. And groom him eventually to play Mike. But that's what I would do. And I'd have Owen Popo as a nickel linebacker, where you're putting him on a man on running backs or rushing the passer. That's what I would do. And ADG and Michael Walker are really good on special teams. And by the way, to give Cody Simon credit, he was one of the top 3 special teams grade on the team. And he's really good at special teams. So
yeah, Cody Simon's a football player.
He is. He's like in a way, he's Buddha-esque when you get him going. And he's gonna sacrifice everything to play well. So now to the cornerback room, which is the hardest. I kept 6 of them and decided that Denzel Burke would be the one to cut now, because I think he's the most likely to pass through waivers. He or K-Trell, but I think K-Trell, I think a team would be really curious about him, because I think a lot of teams kind of liked him coming out of Louisville. And I think they could recognize he's not a boundary corner.
That's right.
Block.
That's right. And that's his issue. I don't know why we keep trying to force him there.
Right.
He's so good everywhere else.
Right.
But, yeah.
That again, you know, like Jonathan Gannon's a cornerback guy. Why doesn't he put Garrett Williams man to man on people in the slot? He rarely ever does. You can't call Garrett Williams a slot corner. Slot corners cover man from the slot, usually the best player on the other team. So, you know, I think Max Melton probably fills that role. I think that Rabbit fills that role, and I think that Darren Hall can fill that role. But I also think that Catrell Clark could really fill that role if they got him started on that, and because he's a dog. I mean,
Yes, he is.
He will pester you, and I think he plays really good trail technique, like he did at Louisville. Which is there's a talent to that where you can give the guy a step and then mirror and tail, and then jump when the ball's in the air. So jump on the route. So
Clark is one of the most liked players on defense. He's a team leader on defense, and
yep.
players love him. Buddha loves him.
Right. Yep. He does, and with good reason. And they work out together.
Yep.
Speaking of Buddha, safeties, which is, I think, our deepest and one of the most beautiful rooms. Buddha, JT, Rabbit, Joey Blount, Keaton Crawford. They even had him doing a press conference, you know, the other day. That I don't see if you give a rookie a press conference, some rookie a press conference.
A rookie practice squad players usually not doing that.
Right. And I thought Jamie Robinson deserves a practice squad because he's a hitter. The question I have, and I want to ask both Kyle, I'll start with Kyle and then Sam. Do you trade Jalen Thompson?
Well, I think it depends what you get, right? I mean, you threw out, I think it was the Texans deal for a 4th round pick. I feel like, yeah, if you get a 4th round pick for a expiring deal, I feel like that's a great decision. I know the Commanders just made that call with Brian Robinson, basically the same situation where they're like, you know, we've got 3 guys or 4 guys if you count what's it, McNichols. We want to open up a roster spot to give guys opportunity, which, you know, they're in this case, the Cardinals version is Rabbit. You say, hey, we'll just take the 6th round pick and thank you, Brian Robinson. You can go spend a year there. So I think it depends what you get. If it's a 7th round pick, it's probably not worth it. I think at that point, Thompson's just as good being your backup and having Rabbit play 75% of the snaps. But if you can get a premium pick, as people would call it, then I think you at least consider it.
Right. Here's why it suddenly became more of a possibility to me was watching Darren Hall play that, you know, Garrett Williams role. I don't think Jalen Thompson plays it as well as Darren Hall does, particularly in coverage. But I mean, if Buddha went down, having Jalen would be great. But also, you can slide Dadrian Taylor Demerson down. He's made to order for that spot too. And with Keaton Crawford and Joey Blount played well as a forcer and tackler against the Broncos. And last week, he's coming on. But Crawford has the back cover skills that you need. And this is so encouraging to me because we've been lacking that for years. And now we got 2 kids, maybe even 3 with Blount, who can get it done. Also, you know who's really good at it is Garrett Williams. You put him on the back third, as Syracuse did at times. The dude can cover back there, and he's got range and instinct. So we got possibilities here. I just think that Jalen, it's hard because you want to play him because he's a vested veteran, but at the expense of taking Dadrian Taylor Demerson off the field, I don't think it's the best decision for the team. And I said this last year, and I'll say it again. I thought the best the defense played last year were when Rabbit was starting and Max Milton was starting ahead of Sean Murphy Bunting. That was that stretch of games where they won like 3 and 4 in a row, and those kids were balling. And then when we came back from the bye, I was like, please, please, please keep playing them. But no, they went back to the veterans. And, I don't know if it's just pure coincidence, but our playoffs hopes ended when the two guys that were out, Jay Thompson and Murphy Bunting, both
came back.
Can't tackle Chuba Hubbard, and he scores the game-winning touchdown in overtime. We lose to the Panthers. Both of them have him lined up in their sights. Both of them, he just bounces right through both of them, and so now typically Thompson's better than that tackling. Murphy Bunting hadn't been typically for us, so that's not a shocker, but you would expect it from Jalen. Nonetheless, it might have been symbolic, but I like the younger kids, and I think we should go with the younger kids.
Well, I think that I think there would have been a fairly significant cap hit had they tried to or traded Thompson prior to the June 1st deadline. But I think you said it best, Walt. It's crazy to have him on the field and keep DTD off the field.
Right.
And we'll see what happens with some cuts, but I know the Packers could use them. The Jags could use them.
Yep.
The Bears could use them.
Yep.
And, the Falcons need cornerback help. So Thompson could help a lot of teams, needy teams. I would be surprised if Monty wasn't listening to offers.
Yeah. I think any second, third day pick, get a fifth for him, you take it. Player for a player.
You could even land an inside linebacker. Who knows?
And he is in the final year of his contract, so it makes a trade appealing for them.
Yeah. Yep. So, and now maybe the most pristine of all our groups is special teams.
Oh,
these guys are great. I mean, Brewer, Ryland, and Gillikin.
You can make an argument that in preseason, the best player on the Cardinals has been Gillikin.
Absolutely. You were making that argument. And there were 2 stars against Denver, Brissett and Gillikin.
Yep.
And, Fehoko, too. You got a Fehiko. How do you say that? Fehoko. Fehoko, it must be.
Hopefully he'll catch a bunch of touchdown passes and the announcers will make it clear how to pronounce it for us.
Exactly. So, and then now comes our reserve pup or IR, where we can bring these guys back at some point. They'd all have to miss the first 4 weeks. Hernandez, obviously, he was injured in week 5 last year, so he's going to need more time. Connor and Jones, maybe one of those two isn't quite as injured as needs to be, and he will stick. I don't know yet, but it sounds like they are. Nolan, I think we'd have stronger indications that he was, if he was close to being ready, I think we would know it, and we haven't, heard that. And I just keep going back to Calais Campbell saying, like, my advice, rest and let it heal 100% before you even try to come back. And if Calais Campbell's saying that, who would know better?
Yep.
And then Justin Jones, I think they probably, for depth purposes, want to keep. They paid him his guaranteed money anyway. And then BJ Ojolari. I don't think Bilal Nichols with a neck injury is going to cut it through, but I don't think they're going to try to save him for later. But And BJ Ojulari is a mystery because he's over a year since his injury. But people are saying maybe the severity of that injury was more than people realize, or so whatever. But feel bad for him because this is year 3 for him, and it's a big year for his NFL career. Hopefully, he'll be back when Cardinals need him most, and he'll be in tip-top shape. So, Sam, any Broncos for us to look out for today that you see? This was your assignment as our recruiter. Do you see anyone on the back end of that roster who might be worth it for us to claim?
Well, it's interesting. Broncos are weak at linebacker. They're looking for safety help. So, and it's a typical Sean Payton program, very close to the vest. Even the insiders in Denver don't know who they're going to let go, and they've got tough competition across the board. And where they're weak is where we're weak. So,
yeah.
But we'll know soon enough.
Yeah.
I know, given the Cardinals picking up Browning last year, that they're focused on the Broncos, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Broncos are loaded.
Yes.
Loaded. So
yeah, that's why I got Bronco envy.
Yeah. And they're good at linebacker. They have the players. The problem is they've got Dre Greenlaw, who's hurt all the time, who's coming off a season. He was out last season with an injury. And then they've got a kid, Sanders, who's supposed to be a starter. He just had foot surgery. So the Broncos, where we're weak and we can use some help, they're weak at the same positions.
Yeah. Do you sign Nick Benito to a big long-term contract?
Oh, for sure. Absolutely.
Throwing the bag at him, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Benito.
They just threw a nice bag at our Zach Allen, who's played unbelievably for them. Unbelievably for him.
You had to bring that up.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad he went to your team. I'm glad you're getting the rewards.
At least we get to watch him. That's right.
Talk about BC kids.
Yep.
Oh man, yeah, he's one of my all-time favorites. So too bad about that, but I'm glad you get to enjoy him and the rest.
That's why I'm so excited how Elijah Jones has played the last couple games.
He's a player.
Position, and I think Elijah Jones and I think Hall are going to wind up starting in critical junctures for this club. Yeah,
I think that would be good to have, because both of them I think are pretty good in man-to-man, and there are no slouches in zone, as we saw with Hall's interception. That was extraordinary. So, and he nearly got an interception again this week. He jumped an under route and got a pass breakup and was close to picking it off. So, and that's something I know the coaches are really trying to stress, is to get your hands on footballs this year, which would be really exciting.
Yep.
So, Kyle, were there any roster moves there that you questioned, or are there players that you think the Cardinals should covet while teams are making deals?
Covet, yes. I mean, I think you should bring in a veteran middle linebacker, I would say. I don't know who that is. I don't know what the trade chip they would use is, but at this point, you gotta make a move there. I don't know if the Saints are willing to give up on the season right now, kind of situation, but I feel like Demario Davis, veteran guy who's, kind of on a team that's not really supposed to be good. Someone like that would make a lot of sense for a team like the Cardinals. He's like 36 and on an expiring contract. It's not a long-term solution, but I feel like you kind of need to just swallow the pill and just go ahead and do that at this point, even if it is bringing someone in right before the season starts. Like you guys outlined, it just didn't work out. And I'm going to just pull the roster up real quick here. I thought the maneuvering of the offensive line you did was very interesting, just because if you just protect those 8 essentially, then you open up opportunities to push other players through on the roster. So I thought that was interesting, given that,
Right.
again, they expect Hernandez and Jones are going to be integral parts of the team, but not necessarily in week 1. So
Right.
I thought that was interesting. I agree with keeping the safeties. I agree with the corners. You're a bigger Keitrell guy than me. I would be okay if they risked Keitrell getting claimed off waivers. I think he would make it through if I had to guess.
Yeah.
But I don't know who that means I would open up a spot for at the very least. Yeah, like the receivers. And I just really liked how you did the offensive line in that way, just to be able to push multiple inside linebackers, multiple safeties through by not keeping 9 to 10 offensive linemen potentially. So yeah, I guess there's no one that I fear is really going to get claimed other than maybe Clayton Tune by a team that loses a quarterback early in the season. But that's kind of the game the Cardinals played once they decided to sign Jacoby Brissett, is that he's your emergency third quarterback. And if someone loses look at the Raiders right now. They just lost Aiden O'Connell. Cam Miller's their only backup. If they want to keep 3 quarterbacks, they absolutely could pick up a Clayton Tune type of player right now. So his salary is reasonable, but I just, that's, the Cardinals have Kyler Murray and Jacoby Brissett. Those are going to be their quarterbacks barring injury for the season. You're never going to need Clayton Tune at this point. So
that's right.
And Clayton Tune has some similarities with Geno Smith.
Oh, sure.
Very similar college careers, and they're like similar prototypes. I'd be happy for him if the Raiders claimed him. Sad for us because I really think he's a talent, but if you're just gonna, avoid playing him at every juncture, then what's the point? So,
Yeah, exactly. But that's the risk you run when you pick up Jacoby Brissett, and he's familiar in the offense and relatively healthy. So there should, if everything goes well, never be a situation where you're going to need to see Clayton Tune on the field this year. So
yeah.
But outside of that,
maybe it's a godsend if we do see him. See, Kurt Warner put it the best, and people should think about this a little bit more before you want to just throw away backup quarterbacks. He said the secret to my success was my coach, Dick Vermeil, believing in me and giving me first team reps. He said, because when you're a second or third stringer and all you're doing is playing in second halves of preseason games with such makeshift lineups that you haven't practiced much with at all, he said, you have no chance. Even if you play well in those scenarios, they say, well, yeah, it's a preseason game. So he said, but it wasn't until I got with the ones. And I think this is the way, this is the only way that a quarterback is good is get him with the ones, get him familiar with the best players, and then see if he's a gamer with the best players on the field. And so many players, look at what happened to Brock Purdy. I mean, he got that chance. And he got that chance to be groomed by Shanahan and with the ones. And then he got in there and, he started doing things. But to throw a quarterback aside and say he sucks and this and that when you've never seen him, other than that Cleveland Browns game, which is so unfair. I mean, 9 weeks into the season, where it was so obvious that not only were they starting Tune for a sacrificial reason is they realized they had no chance of winning that game or even, competing against that defense. So I think 2 of our starting offensive linemen were out. That was tough too. I mean, the left tackle was out. So anyway, but I think it's a great point by Kurt Warner because, you never really know until you give someone a decent enough chance. But I appreciate your remarks on that, and that's interesting to me about Demario Davis.
Yeah, again, I don't. Everyone thinks the Saints are going to be bad. They're trying to shed salary. It's an idea, but
Right.
I don't know. I think the Saints are at least going to want to try and give it their best effort. I don't think they're
Right.
going to
And
punt on the
maybe
season.
that's a trading deadline move, if by then the Cardinals are still in it and the Saints are in selling mode. It's something to keep an eye on. So I don't know if you can get them right now, but we used to see what they do in the waivers. And because I think there'll be some activity there, and to see if any of our guys get claimed. So these are interesting 3 days, and then you get your practice squad guys coming in. I'm usually on Twitter checking the transaction lines like 500 times a day. I'm trying to stay on top of it, so I'll try to keep everyone abreast. But this is an exciting time of year. It always is, and you feel sad for the guys who don't make it. But what many fans keep forgetting a little bit is that this practice squad and the rules that go with it make this whole scenario completely different than what it's been in the past. It's like, being on the practice squad is really still being on the roster because every week you have the chance to be on it, be activated. And then, full time, if you do it 3 or 4 times, they got to pull you up.
Yep.
But it doesn't mean like you're like buried somewhere and never going to play. It means like you're right there. Like Mission Impossible, Mr. Phelps, they could pull you out of the folder and put you in the game right away that next week. So, it does make it, when people say only 3 running backs. Well, if you stash 2 or 3 on the practice squad, it's 5 running backs because you can play him every game until you'd have to make a decision to bring a guy up if he's played multiple games. So it makes it a lot more interesting to be able. That's why, Kyle, I was able to do that with the offensive line. I mean, none of those guys that you would keep on the roster are going to get claimed. I guarantee it. No one's going to claim Royce Newman. But he could be valuable for you in the guard spot for you if you need to pull him up. And, so you can maneuver it that way. And I've always found that fascinating.
Well, and you can activate him week 1 or 2 because you're expecting Jones and Hernandez will come back at some point, and those are going to be roster guys.
Exactly. So, Sam, final thought?
Well, I think just summarizing this last game, they sure looked a lot better than they did against the Broncos. And as a fan, significant improvement is always a good thing.
With you, man. With you. Yeah. Kyle, parting shot?
Well, it's always a fun game every year to piece the rosters together. We covered a lot of ground today, but one other person we didn't mention much, who I know will be a practice squad player, but I'm rooting for, is Palmer, the wide receiver. I want to believe that he can be eventually one of the 5 or 6 guys. I don't think it's going to be right now, but that is a capital P project, and they're really trying. So I'm rooting for him, but we didn't mention him much today, and I'll just shout him out. I'm really hoping that it does ultimately work out in Arizona for him.
He had developed a nice chemistry with Jacoby. He had 2 touchdown catches up the sideline with Jacoby in practice. So, I mean, physically, he looks really good. He looks big and strong. So, I mean, he's put him in the bullpen because I think he's a hard charger, and once he gets his feet wet and gets his technique down, I think he'll be a contributor. Great call on Taiwan. Way to
Yeah.
pull him out.
I think at some point he's going to play in the NFL. I just hope that it's
Right.
for the Cardinals, since they've been drafting and developing him and doing all that. Maybe it'll be with another team eventually, but
Right.
I think one day he will be playing in the NFL.
Right. So, well, we're just so happy with Sam. We've asked him to stick with us.
Thank you.
And you
You
know,
can always change
it's a
your
great
mind.
show. And as Saguaro alums, you know, we regard very highly that what a program. So we're happy to have him with us, and Kyle, as always, does a tremendous job. And we're on StreamYard now, and we're even going to the special package. We'll have graphics. Thanks to all of you who have been supporting us. It's like we never left, sort of. We're really happy to see so many of you back with us, and we're going to go through this whole season together. And please, in the comments, you know, tell us your thoughts. You know, we'd love to hear from you, and I'll respond to anybody who has a comment or question in the comment section. And then please join us on Red Rain blog for Arizona Cardinals fans, which has been really, you know, taken off pretty well. In fact, more than I would have expected. So
It's been a lot of fun.
love that. The traffic there is going pretty amazing, and so join us there. And as always, we want to hear your voices. This is a team effort. We don't do this on an island. We know, you know, getting your input means the world to us. So please be generous in making comments and which way you want to contribute. And in the interim, may the red rain of preseason confetti, going 2-0 at home, shower down on you into the red sea. Red rain.